The Galactic Council had existed for over 10,000 years. 27 different alien species worked together in this group. They had rules for everything. They had special steps for meeting new aliens. These steps had worked many times before. The Council met on a huge space station. The station floated in an empty part of space far from any stars. It was safe there. No one could find it unless they were invited. At least that was what the Council thought. The day the humans arrived changed everything. The human ship was called the Northern Star. It was small compared to Council ships. It had scratches on its hull and patched up parts. Captain Alan Moore led a crew of 15 humans. They were not soldiers or politicians. They were scientists and explorers. "Strange signal coming from that asteroid field," said pilot Sammy Wright, pointing at his screen. "Doesn't look natural." Captain Moore nodded. He was a tall man with a beard going gray. He had been in space for 20 years. Nothing surprised him anymore. Or so he thought. "Let's check it out," he said. "But stay alert. Lisa, keep the engines warm in case we need to leave fast." Lisa Grant nodded from her station. She was the ship's engineer and second in command. "Always do, Captain." The Northern Star moved slowly through the asteroid field. The rocks were big, some as large as small moons. They hid the Council station well. But the humans found it anyway. "Holy cow," said Navigator Barry Cole. "That's not an asteroid. That's a space station. And it's huge." The station was indeed huge. It looked like a metal flower with many petals. Each petal was the size of a city. Lights blinked all over it. Small ships moved around it like bees around a hive. "We're being scanned," Lisa said. "And now they're hailing us." Captain Moore straightened his uniform. It wasn't fancy, just a blue jumpsuit with Earth's flag on the shoulder. "Put them on screen." The screen lit up. A strange alien face appeared. It had 4 eyes and skin like blue glass. When it spoke, its words were translated by the ship's computer. "Unknown vessel. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves immediately." Captain Moore stepped forward. "I am Captain Allen Moore of the Earth ship Northern Star. We are explorers. We followed a signal to this location. We come in peace." The alien blinked all 4 eyes at different times. "Earth? You are humans?" "That's right," said Moore. "Is that a problem?" The alien's skin changed color, becoming lighter. "No, not a problem. We have been expecting your species to reach us eventually. Please wait." The screen went dark. "Well, that was weird," said Sammy. "They were expecting us?" Lisa looked at her readings. "Captain, they've activated some kind of tractor beam. They're pulling us in." Moore frowned. "Can we break free if we need to?" Lisa studied her screen. "Yes, but it would take full power. We'd risk damaging the engines." "Keep that option ready," Moore said. "But let's see what they want first." The Northern Star was guided into a large docking bay. Other ships were there too, all different shapes and sizes. None looked like the human ship. "Atmosphere is breathable," said Science Officer Cindy Taylor. "Gravity is slightly less than Earth normal. No signs of weapons aimed at us." Moore nodded. "All right. Lisa, you stay with the ship. Keep it ready to go. Cindy, Barry, you're with me. Let's meet our hosts." The 3 humans put on their spacesuits, not for air but for protection against unknown germs. They stepped out onto the station. 5 different aliens waited for them. Each looked completely different from the others. One had tentacles. One looked like a giant insect. One was floating above the ground. One was made of what looked like rock, and the blue glass one from the screen stood in the middle. "Welcome," said the blue alien. "I am Council Member Zixvan. We must begin the first contact ceremony immediately." Moore looked confused. "First contact ceremony? What's that?" Zixvan's skin rippled with color. "It is the proper way to welcome a new species to the galactic community. It will only take 3 days." "3 days?" Moore asked. "Just to say hello?" The insect alien clicked its mandibles. "It is the proper protocol. It has been refined over thousands of years." Moore looked at his team. Barry shrugged. Cindy looked interested. "Look," said Moore, We don't have 3 days for ceremonies. We need to discuss important things. We've run into some nasty aliens near our home. We need to know if you can help us." All 5 aliens went very still. "That is not the proper sequence," said the rock alien in a grinding voice. "Military discussions come after cultural exchange, which comes after the ceremony." Moore sighed. He rubbed his beard. "How long until we get to the military discussions?" "Approximately 6 months," said Zixvan. Moore laughed. Then he realized they were serious. 6 months? People are dying right now. We don't have 6 months. "It is the proper way," said the floating alien in a singing voice. "All species follow the protocol." Moore looked at his team again. Then he made a decision. "I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for us. We need help now, not after 6 months of talking. If you can't skip ahead, we'll have to look elsewhere." Q. Aliens all started talking at once. Their voices overlapped in a strange chorus. "Impossible. Cannot skip steps. Unthinkable. Against all tradition." Moore held up his hands. "I understand this is important to you, but it's more important to us to protect our people. Thank you for your time, but we'll be leaving now." "You cannot leave," said Zixvan. "No species has ever left before completing first contact." "Well, we're human," said Moore with a small smile. "We do things differently. If you change your mind about helping us sooner, you know where to find us." Moore turned to his team. "Let's go." The 3 humans walked back to their ship. The aliens watched in shock. Back on the Northern Star, Moore gave the order. "Lisa, get us out of here. Nice and slow. No need to be rude about it." The human ship pulled away from the station. It moved through the asteroid field and then jumped to faster than light speed. Back on the station, all 27 council members gathered in their meeting chamber. The room had never been so loud. Everyone was talking at once. Some were angry. Some were scared. All were confused. "Order!" shouted Zixvan, hitting the floor with his staff. "We must have order." Slowly, the noise died down. "The humans left," said the insect alien. "They just left." "No one leaves," said the rock alien. "No one has ever left." "What did they mean about nasty aliens?" asked another council member. "What have they encountered?" "More importantly," said Zixvan, "what will they do now? If they don't follow protocol, what rules do they follow?" The council room went quiet. No one had an answer, and so, as soon as humans walked away, the council went into panic. For 3 days, the council argued. The big meeting room had never been so busy. Some members shouted, others whispered in corners. A few just sat and watched with worried eyes. Zixvan hit his staff on the floor again and again. "We must have quiet. We cannot think with all this noise." Slowly, the room became silent. "We need to understand these humans," said Zixvan. "They do not follow normal patterns." The rock alien, called Granok, spoke in his grinding voice. "They are dangerous. Any species that ignores protocol is dangerous." The insect alien clicked her mandibles. Her name was Vitra. "I disagree. They seemed worried, not dangerous. They mentioned nasty aliens near their home." A new alien stood up. This one looked almost human, but with purple skin and white hair. Her name was Nari. She was the council's best scientist. "I have studied the data from the human ship," she said. "Their technology is not very advanced. Their ship is slow and their weapons are weak. But they have traveled farther from their home than they should be able to." "What does that mean?" asked a small furry alien. "It means they are clever," said Nari. "They make their simple technology work better than it should." The council members looked at each other. Clever aliens could be dangerous. "We should send a ship to Earth," said a tall, thin alien with 3 arms. "We should learn more about them." "No," said Granok. "That would skip protocols. We cannot skip protocols." "The humans already skipped protocols," said Nari with a small smile. "Maybe we should learn from them." Before anyone could answer, a young council worker ran into the room. Honored members, another human ship has entered our space. Everyone turned to look at the main screen. A new ship appeared there. It was bigger than the Northern Star. It had more weapons. Its name was painted on the side, Defender. They have returned so quickly, said Zixvan, and with a warship. They are attacking, shouted Granok. Nari shook her head. No, they are hailing us. They want to talk. Zixvan nodded. Put them on screen. The screen changed. A human woman appeared. She had dark skin and short hair. She wore a uniform like Captain Moore's but with more decorations. Greetings, she said. I am Captain Olivia Bennett of the Earthship Defender. The Northern Star told us about meeting you. Zixvan stepped forward. I am Grand Arbiter Zixvan of the Galactic Council. We welcome you, though you have not followed proper protocols for entering our space. Captain Bennett nodded. I apologize for that, but we don't have time for protocols. We need to talk about the Vorax. The council room went very quiet. The Vorax? Asked Vitra, her voice shaking. You know of the Vorax? Captain Bennett's face became hard. Yes. We've been fighting them for 5 years now. They destroyed one of our colonies, killed thousands of our people. The council members looked at each other in fear. The Vorax were not supposed to be real. They were just a scary story parents told children. Captain Bennett, said Nari, stepping forward. The Vorax are a myth, a legend we tell to scare children. They are not real. Bennett shook her head. They are very real, and they are getting closer to your space. That's why we need to talk. That's why Captain Moore couldn't wait 6 months for your protocols. She pressed a button. The screen split to show her on one side. On the other side was a video. It showed a battle in space. Human ships fired weapons at strange, dark shapes. The shapes looked like giant insects with too many legs. When the human weapons hit them, the shapes just grew back. This was 3 months ago, said Bennett. We lost 12 ships and 58 people. The council room was silent. Everyone stared at the screen. This cannot be real, said Granok. The Vorax are a myth. Where did you encounter these creatures? Asked Nari, her voice quiet. In a part of space your maps mark as Do Not Enter, said Bennett. Star System J227. We found it had good planets for our people. We started a colony there 5 years ago. A month later, the Vorax came out of deep caves on the planet. Zixvan sat down heavily. J227 was marked dangerous 10,000 years ago. The first council found something there. The records are not clear. They just say, death sleeps below. Well, death woke up, said Bennett, and it's hungry. A new alien stepped into view on the screen next to Bennett. This one was clearly human, a man with gray hair and a serious face. My name is Frank Ross, he said. I've been fighting the Vorax for 4 years. They learn fast. Each time we find a weapon that works, they adapt. We need new technology, we need help. The council members all talked at once again. Some were scared. Some were angry. Some wanted to help. Others wanted to hide. Zixvan hit his staff on the floor. Quiet! He turned back to the screen. Captain Bennett, this is very disturbing news. We need time to discuss this. Bennett shook her head. We don't have much time. The Vorax are moving again. We've tracked 3 of their hive ships heading toward your space. They'll be at your outer colonies in about 6 months. 6 months? Gasped a small alien. That is when our protocols would have allowed military discussions to begin. Captain Moore told you we needed to talk now, said Bennett. This is why. Zixvan stood up straight. For the first time in his long life, he decided to break protocol. Captain Bennett, please bring your ship to our station. Bring all your information about the Vorax. We will meet with you immediately. Bennett nodded. Thank you. We'll dock in 20 minutes. The screen went dark. The council room was silent for a long moment. Then everyone started talking at once. We cannot trust them, shouted Granok. We must help them, said Vitra. The Vorax cannot be real, said another. But what if they are? Asked a small voice. Nari raised her hand. When she spoke, everyone listened. I think we understand now, she said. We understand why humans walked away. They are fighting a war we didn't know existed. A war against an enemy we thought was just a story. Zixvan nodded slowly. Yes, and now we must decide. Do we help them? Do we join their fight? Or do we follow our protocols and wait until it is too late? No one answered. The question hung in the air like a dark cloud. In less than one day, humans had broken 10,000 years of council protocol. They had brought news of a terrible enemy. They had asked for help. And now the council had to choose between their comfortable rules and an uncomfortable truth. The decision would change everything. The human ship defender docked at the station. Captain Bennett and 5 of her crew walked into the council room. Frank Ross was with them. They carried small computers and cases of equipment. The council members watched them with a mix of fear and curiosity. Humans looked like some other aliens in the galaxy, but there was something different about them. They moved with purpose. They didn't waste time. Thank you for meeting with us, said Captain Bennett. We've brought all our data on the Vorax. Zixvan nodded. We are very concerned about your report. If the Vorax are real and if they are coming toward our space, we must act. They are real, said Frank Ross. He opened one of the cases. Inside was a strange, dark object. It looked like a mix between a rock and an insect leg. This is part of a Vorax scout. We killed it 3 months ago. Nari stepped forward. She held out a small scanner. May I? Ross nodded. Nari scanned the object. Her purple face showed surprise. It's alive, she said. Or partly alive. It's sending out a weak signal. They all do that, said Ross. Even when they're dead, parts of them try to call the hive. That's how they find each other. Another human stepped forward. She had red hair pulled back in a tight bun. I'm Dr. Linda Foster, xenobiologist. I've been studying the Vorax for 3 years. They're like nothing we've ever seen before. She pressed a button on her computer. A big image appeared in the air above the council table. It showed a creature that looked like a cross between a spider and a lizard. It had too many legs, too many eyes, and teeth that looked like small knives. This is a Vorax drone, said Dr. Foster. It's about the size of a large dog. They're the workers and fighters. They don't think for themselves. They just follow orders from the hive mind. She changed the image. Now it showed a much larger creature. This one was the size of a small house. It had a swollen body and a small head with huge eyes. This is a Vorax queen, said Dr. Foster. She controls the drones. She lays eggs. She's the brains of a hive. Each hive ship has 1 queen and thousands of drones. The council members looked at the images with horror. Vitra, the insect alien, clicked her mandibles nervously. They look a bit like my people, she said. But wrong, very wrong. Granok, the rock alien, spoke up. So you have been fighting these creatures for 5 years. Why come to us now? Why not when you first found them? Captain Bennett looked at him with tired eyes. We did try to get help. 5 years ago, we met with the Krellin trade ships. We showed them what we had found. They said they would tell their government. But they never did. A small green alien jumped up. I am the Krellin ambassador. This is a lie. We never met humans before. Frank Ross pulled out another small computer. He pressed a button. A video played. It showed a meeting between humans and bird-like aliens. That's from 5 years ago, he said. We met with Krellin trade ships right after the first Vorax attack. They said they would report to the council. They never did. The Krellin ambassador sank back into his seat. I was not told of this. We tried again 2 years ago, said Bennett. We contacted the Mirazi Science Station near Jupiter. They said the same thing. They would report to the council. Nothing happened. A tall, thin alien with a long neck looked down. My government received the report, but we thought it was exaggerated, a trick by a new species to get attention. Bennett shook her head. While all of you ignored us, we lost 2 more colonies, over 5,000 dead. We've been fighting alone. The council room was quiet. Zix Von looked around at the other members. Many looked ashamed. We have failed you, he said finally, and we have failed ourselves. Our protocols were meant to keep us safe. Instead, they kept us ignorant. He stood up straight. But now we know. And now we will help. What do you need from us? Captain Bennett smiled for the first time. We need better weapons. The Vorax adapt quickly to whatever we use against them. We need new technology they haven't seen before. Nari stood up. I am the Council's chief scientist. My people have developed sonic weapons that might work against these creatures. If they communicate through signals, we might be able to disrupt those signals. Vitra clicked her mandibles. My people have bioweapons that target specific neural systems. If we can study this Vorax part, we might create something that hurts only them, not other life. One by one, council members offered help. Ships, weapons, scientists, soldiers. After 10,000 years of talking, the council was finally ready to act. Frank Ross leaned close to Captain Bennett. This is more than we hoped for, he whispered. Bennett nodded. But will it be enough? And will it be in time? Dr. Foster was working with Nari and several other council scientists. They were all examining the Vorax part. This material is fascinating, said Nari. It's both organic and inorganic. Living metal, almost. Dr. Foster nodded. That's what makes them so hard to kill. They heal themselves. They absorb metal and minerals to rebuild damaged parts. A small alarm beeped on Frank Ross's belt. He checked it and his face went pale. Captain, he said to Bennett, we just got a message from Earth. The Vorax have changed course. They're moving faster than we predicted. They'll reach the outer council worlds in 3 months, not 6. Bennett turned to Zix Von. We need to move quickly. Can your people be ready to fight in 3 months? The council members looked at each other. 3 months was nothing to species that lived for hundreds of years. It was a blink of an eye. Our protocols say military preparations take at least 1 year, said Granick. Bennett's face hardened. Then change your protocols. The Vorax won't wait for you to be ready. Zix Von hit his staff on the floor. Captain Bennett is right. The old ways have failed us. From this moment, we create new protocols. War protocols. He turned to the other members. Go to your homeworlds. Tell your people what is coming. Prepare your ships and your weapons. In 1 month, we meet back here with everything we have. The council members stood up one by one. Many looked afraid, but they all nodded. They all agreed. As they left to prepare, Zix Von approached Captain Bennett. We have existed for 10,000 years without a major war. He said quietly, we had forgotten what it means to fight for survival. Bennett put a hand on his shoulder. You'll remember quickly. All living things know how to fight when they have to. Zix Von looked at the human. You could have hidden from us. You could have moved your people far away from the Vorax path. Why fight for worlds that aren't yours? Bennett smiled sadly. Because that's what humans do. We don't abandon others to monsters even if we just met them, even if they follow protocols we don't understand. For the first time, Zix Von understood what made humans different. It wasn't their technology or their strength. It was their hearts. 1 month later, the council station was busy like never before. Ships from all 27 member worlds arrived. Big warships and small fast ships. Ships with weapons and ships with supplies. The space around the station looked like a metal forest. Inside the station, aliens and humans worked together. They shared ideas. They built new weapons. They made plans. Nari worked with Dr. Foster day and night. They studied the Vorax parts and made discoveries. Look at this, said Nari, pointing to a screen. The Vorax cells react to this frequency. They try to move away from it. Dr. Foster looked closely. You're right. It hurts them. This could be the weapon we need. In another room, Captain Bennett met with military leaders from the council worlds. They looked at maps of space and planned how to fight. The Vorax will come through this star system first, she said, pointing to a spot on the map. We should put our strongest ships here, make a wall they can't break through. A blue alien with 6 arms nodded. My people will send our war fleet. Our ships have the strongest shields. Good, said Bennett. The Vorax like to attack the strongest target first. They want to eat the most powerful technology. Frank Ross worked with engineers to make human ships stronger. They added alien technology to Earth weapons. They made them better and more powerful. Your missiles are simple but effective, said a small green alien with big eyes. If we add our energy crystals to them, they will hit much harder. Zix Von watched all this activity from his office. He felt old and tired. For 10,000 years, the Council had avoided war. Now they were preparing for the biggest war in history. A human entered his office. It was Alan Moore, the captain who had walked away from the first meeting. Grand Arbiter, he said with a small bow. I wanted to say I'm sorry for how our first meeting went. I didn't understand your ways. Zix Von waved a hand. No, Captain Moore, I am the one who should say sorry. You tried to warn us. We didn't listen. Moore sat down across from the alien. I've been working with your navigation team. We've found 3 places where we can set traps for the Vorax. Places where space is narrow, where they have to come through, in a line. Zix Von nodded. Good. We need every advantage we can get. Moore looked out the window at all the ships. It's amazing what we can do when we work together. Yes, said Zix Von. In 1 month, we have done more than in the last 100 years. A alarm sounded. Both Moore and Zix Von jumped up. What is that? Asked Moore. The early warning system, said Zix Von. His voice was shaking. Something has been detected. They ran to the main control room. Captain Bennett was already there looking at a big screen. Frank Ross stood beside her. They both looked worried. What is it? Asked Zix Von. Bennett pointed to the screen. 3 Vorax hive ships just entered the edge of Council space. They're 2 months early. The room went quiet. Everyone stared at the screen. The hive ships looked like giant black spiders made of metal. How? Asked Nari, who had just run into the room. How did they get here so fast? They must have found a shortcut, said Ross. A way through space we didn't know about. Dr. Foster checked her computer. They're moving toward the Talari system. There are 3 inhabited planets there. A tall, thin alien stepped forward. Those are my people's worlds. There are billions of Talari on those planets. Bennett turned to Zix Von. We need to move now. We're not fully ready, but we have to go. Zix Von looked around the room. He saw fear on many faces, but he also saw determination, especially on the human faces. How long until the Vorax reach the Talari worlds? He asked. 5 days, said Ross. How long to get our fleet there? If we push our engines to maximum 4 days, said Bennett. Zix Von stood tall. Then we will go. All ships that are ready will leave in 1 hour. The rest will follow as soon as they can. The room burst into activity. People ran to prepare. Messages were sent to all ships. Bennett, Ross, Moore, and Dr. Foster gathered in a corner to talk. This is going to be close, said Bennett. Very close. We don't have all our new weapons ready, said Ross. Only about half. Half is better than none, said Moore. And we have surprise on our side. The Vorax don't know we've joined with the Council. Dr. Foster looked at her computer. Nari and I have our sonic disruptor ready. It should confuse the Vorax drones, but we haven't tested it on a queen. Bennett put a hand on her friend's shoulder. It's the best we have. We'll make it work. 1 hour later, the combined fleet left the station. Over 500 ships from Earth and the Council worlds. They formed a long line as they moved into faster-than-light travel. Zix Von watched them go from the station's control room. Nari stood beside him. They had both decided to stay behind to coordinate. Do you think they will win? Asked Nari quietly. I don't know, said Zix Von. The Vorax are terrible enemies, but the humans... He paused. The humans are something I have never seen before. What do you mean? Asked Nari. They don't give up, said Zix Von. Even when things look impossible, They keep fighting, and they fight for others, not just themselves. That is rare in the galaxy. On the lead ship, the Earth vessel Defender, Captain Bennett looked at the stars rushing past her window. Frank Ross came to stand beside her. "Penny for your thoughts," he said. Bennett smiled a little. "I was thinking about how strange life is. A month ago, we were alone in our fight. Now we have a whole galaxy of friends." "If we survive," said Ross. "We'll survive," said Bennett. "We have to. Not just for Earth, but for everyone." As the fleet raced toward the Talari system, a message was sent throughout the galaxy. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Galactic Council was at war, and humans were leading the way. The message was short: stand together or fall alone. It was signed by both Captain Bennett and Grand Arbiter Zixvan. The galaxy would never be the same again. 4 days later, the combined fleet reached the Talari system. They arrived just in time. The 3 Vorax hive ships were almost at the first planet. On the bridge of the Defender, Captain Bennett watched the enemy ships on her screen. They were huge, each one the size of a small moon, dark and strange, with parts that moved like they were alive. "All ships in position," said her communications officer. Bennett nodded. "Tell everyone to get ready. We attack in 5 minutes." Messages went out to all the ships in the fleet. Humans and aliens prepared their weapons. Some were afraid, some were excited. All knew this was the most important fight of their lives. On a Talari planet below, people looked up at the sky with fear. They could see the dark shapes of the Vorax ships getting closer, but they could also see hundreds of smaller ships moving to protect them. For the first time, they felt hope. "This is Captain Bennett to all ships," she said over the communication system. "The Vorax don't know we're working together. They don't know about our new weapons. We have surprise on our side. Let's make it count." Frank Ross stood next to her. "Sonic disruptors ready," he said. "Dr. Foster says to aim for the center of each hive ship. That's where the queen should be." Bennett nodded. "All ships with sonic weapons aim for the center of the hive ships. All other ships protect them while they attack." The battle began. The human and council ships moved toward the Vorax. At first, the Vorax didn't react. They weren't worried about such small ships. They had fought humans before and won easily. But then the first sonic weapons fired. They sent out waves that couldn't be seen, only felt. The waves hit the Vorax ships and something strange happened. Parts of the giant ships began to twitch and move in the wrong ways. "It's working," shouted Ross. "The sonic waves are confusing the drones." The Vorax ships began to fight back. They shot out dark, sticky nets that wrapped around the smaller ships. They fired energy weapons that cut through metal like it was paper. "Protect the sonic ships," ordered Bennett. "Don't let them get close." The battle was chaos. Ships moving everywhere, weapons firing, explosions lighting up space. On the council station, Zixvan and Nari watched the battle through long-range sensors. They couldn't do anything but watch and hope. "The sonic weapons are hurting them," said Nari, "but not enough. The queens are still protected deep inside the hive ships." "We need to get closer," said Zixvan. "We need to hit the queens directly." Back in the battle, Captain Bennett had the same thought. "We need to get closer," she said to Ross. "We need to hit the queens." Ross looked worried. "If we get closer, we'll be in range of their strongest weapons. We'll lose a lot of ships." Bennett's face was hard. "If we don't stop them here, everyone on those planets will die. We have to try." She opened the communication channel again. "This is Captain Bennett. We're changing the plan. I need volunteers to fly close to the hive ships. We need to get the sonic weapons closer to hit the queens." For a moment there was silence, then a voice came through. It was Captain Moore on the Northern Star. "We'll go," he said. "My ship is small and fast. We can get close." "So will we," said another voice. It was the captain of a Talari ship. "Those are our planets they're threatening. We will protect them." One by one, captains volunteered. Soon 20 ships were ready to make the dangerous run. "On my mark," said Bennett. 3, 2, 1, go." The small ships raced toward the Vorax hive ships. The rest of the fleet provided cover. firing at anything that tried to stop them. Captain Moore's ship, the Northern Star, led the way. They dodged Vorax weapons and flew right up to the largest hive ship. "Sonic disruptor at maximum power," said Moore to his crew. "Fire when ready." The Northern Star and the other small ships all fired their sonic weapons at once. The waves hit the hive ships at close range, much stronger than before. Inside the hive ships, the Vorax queens felt the sonic waves for the first time. The waves hurt them. They couldn't think clearly. They couldn't control their drones. The hive ships began to move in strange ways. Parts of them fought against other parts. The queens were losing control, but the small ships were in danger. The Vorax drones attacked them directly. The Northern Star was hit hard. "Engine damaged," reported Lisa Grant. "We're losing power." Captain Moore looked at his crew. "We've done our part. Now let's get out of here." The small ships turned and tried to escape. Some made it. Some didn't. The Northern Star was moving slowly, trailing smoke and debris. A Vorax drone ship came up behind them. "We're not going to make it," said Barry Cole from his pilot seat. But then the drone ship exploded. Behind it was a council ship, its weapons still firing. "This is Captain Vrila of the Talari Defense Force," came a voice over the radio. "Let us help you, friends." The Talari ship moved close to the Northern Star and extended an energy field around it, protecting it from further attacks. All across the battlefield, the tide was turning. The Vorax queens were confused by the sonic weapons. Without clear orders, the drones didn't know what to do. The combined fleet pressed their advantage. "Push them back," ordered Bennett. "Don't let them near the planets." The fleet moved forward together, firing all their weapons. The Vorax hive ships began to retreat. "They're running away," shouted Ross. "We're winning." For the first time in known history, the Vorax were being defeated. They moved away from the Talari planets back toward deep space. The combined fleet followed them, making sure they left the system completely. When it was over, ships from both sides were destroyed. Good people had died. But the Talari planets were safe and the Vorax had been pushed back. On the bridge of the Defender, Captain Bennett finally allowed herself to sit down. She was tired, but happy. "We did it," she said to Ross. "We really did it?" Ross nodded. "And we did it together. Humans and council races fighting side by side." A message came through from the council station. It was Zix Von. "Captain Bennett, Captain Moore, all the brave humans and council members who fought today, I thank you. The galaxy thanks you." Bennett smiled. "We're not done yet, Grand Arbiter. The Vorax will be back. We need to be ready." "And we will be," said Zix Von. "Together. No more protocols that keep us apart. No more rules that slow us down. From now on, we work together as equals." When the fleet returned to the council station, things were different. Humans were welcomed as heroes. The council voted to make Earth a full member with the same rights as races that had been members for thousands of years. And when humans walked away, the council no longer panicked. They knew the humans would come back. They always did. That was what humans were like. They helped others, even people they had just met. They fought for those who couldn't fight for themselves. In the years that followed, humans spread throughout the galaxy. They brought with them their strange ways and their new ideas. They broke old rules and made new ones. They changed everything, and the galaxy was better for it.